So this last weekend we decided to visit Finland and go to a tournament called Install. Install is the biggest tournament in FGC history in Finland, and the FGC is, of course, most of you might know, but that stands for the fighting game community. So it was an event with a lot of fighting games, and me as a fighting game player, of course I had to attend. It's just a ferry boat over, so we went over there, we took the ferry on the Thursday. The Finland ferry goes from Stockholm to Helsinki, and the event is actually in Helsinki, so it was a pretty cheap trip. We were actually discussing to take the ferry or the plane, but the plane actually cost more, so we took the ferry. However, when you count on it, the ferry goes for like 14 hours. We took it in the afternoon and then we were there in the morning. So you kind of, you get your cabin and you sleep there and stuff. But the ferry is also pretty big. It has like this walking street with stores and restaurants, and there's also like tax-free bars, clubs, etc. So when you think of it like that, you actually spend a lot of money on the boat because you don't want to sit in the cabin all day, right? You want to go have some beers, eat some good food. So in the end, it would for sure have been cheaper to take the flight, but we took the ferry and it was really fun. We were 6 people from the Swedish FGC who went over with the ferry, and then there was an additional at least 6 people, I think, from Sweden for other games or from other scenes that took the flight. Anyways, we arrived in Helsinki. We went to the hotel, which was you only took the tram from where the boat stops. It was really easy to get there. You just took the tram from where the ferry stops to the hotel in Kallio. And the hotel was nice. It was a little bit more expensive compared to other hotels if you go to other places in Europe. But we got a pretty okay deal, so we stayed there. However, we didn't get access to our rooms until 15 o'clock, which is 3 p.m. by the way. And that was a problem because we were there at 11 o'clock or so. And I had already been to Helsinki and I was pretty tired because I don't sleep well on ferries. It's like going to the left, right because of the waves and stuff. And also when you had a little bit to drink, you don't always feel so great the day after, right? So I went up to the hotel room of another person who is attending and crashed in his bed while the others went out to look at Helsinki. I've been to Helsinki before, so twice or so. So I've been there. I've been looking around before, so I took the chance to rest up. Then later on, when we got our hotel rooms and so, we went to the venue, and this was on the Friday, so this was the first day. So the first day at these kind of events are usually full of casual play, so there is not too much competitive play going on. However, the install had a lot of side tournaments. Those are tournaments that are for like older games or smaller games that don't fit the main event. So the main games for this event was Smash, it was Tekken, it was Street Fighter 5, and it was Guilty Gear, right? But there were also those side tournaments. There were Third Strike, there was Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, they had Samurai Showdown, Blaze Blue, and a lot more. So for me, I didn't have any tournament that day, and not even side tournament. The only tournament I signed up for was Street Fighter 5, and it was Samurai Showdown. And those were on the Saturday. So the Friday for me was mostly just meeting up with people. We don't see each other that often. Usually I meet the Finnish people when I'm out in Europe playing, for example. So it was nice to see all the Finnish people now for once, because even when you're out in Europe, it's not always that the best Finnish players always go to all events, right? You usually meet 2 of them at one event, then 4 of them at another event, and so on. So it was nice to meet them all again. And then we could sit down, we could play some casuals. I played some casuals in both Street Fighter 5 and in Samurai Showdown, so that was a good start of the Friday for me. They also have the main stage, and that's where all the tournament games are being played or shown, at least the ones that are on stream. And it's pretty cool to play there. It's a huge stage, you face off against your opponent, you have the audience watching, and you have the huge screen behind you when the commentators, yelling, and it's really cool. As this was on Friday, they had some side tournaments there. My fondest memory is Street Fighter Third Strike, where Sweden did pretty well. I think we got the first, second, and third place in that game, and it has some really cool highlight as well. So after that, we went back to the hotel, slept for the day, and then we went up pretty early on Saturday because our pools for Street Fighter 5, the pools that are like the group stage of a fighting game. So you first play in your pools and it's double elimination, right? So you lose twice, you're out of the tournament. So you are allowed to lose once, and then you go down to the losers bracket, and then if you lose in the losers bracket, you meet other people who have lost once, right? And if you lose there, you're out of the tournament. So our pool started pretty early. I think it was at 10 o'clock in the morning. I was seeded, so I had to play my first game on the main stage. It was against someone from Finland called Freyon, and he picked Honda. And this was a matchup that I think my character Laura does pretty well in. So I just tried to stay to my game plan, tried to keep focused, and that game went pretty well for me. I took it pretty fast and comfortably.
Impressive character.
Plus frames.
Still not out of it here. One crush counter. He was going for the butt splash there.
Okay.
Ooh.
Control.
Yeah.
And checks the dash.
Yeah, very good.
Ready. Oh, he tries to dash in.
Does not get the lag confirm. Activation ready, and there we go again with the anti-air elbow. Light hands for pressure.
Good.
There, he hits it.
Oh, just checks.
Yeah.
Just completely ready.
Yeah.
He was completely ready.
After that, my next game on the big stage was against Lohi, and he's a Finnish player that I had a lot of problems with. He plays Urian, and I think it's a pretty even matchup. However, they have a really strong Laura in Finland, so he knows the matchup pretty well, and he sure makes it hard for me. So we had a really tight set, and I had the game in the bag. I made a poor choice, and he came back and killed me for it. So I was a little bit salty about that loss, I have to say. He popped off on me in the end, which it's kind of funny. I mean, it's part of the game, right? And it's part of since this isn't a team game, it's extremely personal. So every loss you take extremely personal, every win you also take extremely personal, and if you win, then you're allowed to pop off. I really like that aspect of the game.
Overhead. He's dead.
He's super dead.
He's dead.
Oh my god. You were talking about explosiveness.
Oh my goodness
I
gracious.
feel like that's what we knockdown.
Oh, reset.
Resets. Sunset wheel. Another one.
Another one. No, he has to guess correctly now. What's it gonna be? EX Sunset Wheel.
Dash in, dash out, EX Sunset Wheel. But dashes into some buttons.
Oh no, he's not checking the V skill.
Yeah, that is minus.
Oh no!
Punished.
The crouching fierce.
And no
minus.
EX Fireball to make it plus again.
Yeah.
Oh! It's the Urian.
Good tech. Oh! That's the follow-up. Is he dead? Not yet.
Not. One more guess.
Oh no! What's it gonna be?
That won't kill, that
Yeah,
won't kill.
it's not gonna kill.
But they're both at one guess.
Oh, he already blocks
Goes
it!
for it!
And now the momentum is on low.
Oh! Yeah, that's gonna be dead.
Yeah. And Lohi suddenly on set round.
3 rounds in a row here. Can Rickmeister bounce back from this?
Hey, Rickmeister still has the robbery. Here it comes.
Oh, it's gonna be activation shortly. No?
Oh, there it is.
There it is, yeah. Sunset wheel. Oh, the double low confirm.
And the problem there is that you cannot EX headbutt in that situation. Laura can actually block in time. Oh, hit! Oh, there it is, and Lohi is gonna close it out. And he pops off. Lohi pops off. He's going to top 16, winner's side.
So now I've found myself in losers bracket, and it's pretty rough there. Now I know that if I lose one single game, I'm gonna die. However, I made it to top 16 at least. And since I had early pools, I had a commentary shift after that. So after my own pools, and I was ready for top 16, which was going to start later that day. So I was doing some commentary, and it was actually my first time commenting on a big stage like that. I've done a lot of online things before where people have said that they liked my commentary, and now I was actually asked to commentate during this event. So I said, yeah, sure. It was never something I really tried to do, but people said that they liked my commentary, and that's why I continued to do it for a little bit. And it was really fun to do it on a big stage, and kind of weird hearing your own voice echo out through the hall. However, I did have a headset, so it didn't really interrupt me while talking, because if you have ever heard yourself or heard your own voice while talking, talking, it's incredibly annoying. But this noise cancel was pretty good, so that wasn't a problem at all. So later on we started top 16, and my first game was against a Zangief player. Now Zangief is a really tough matchup for Lara, my character. One of her worst, it's the worst I would say. So for this matchup in particular, I have a secondary character named Fall, and that's a horrible matchup for Geef. And it went really well for me. I kept to my game plan, I did exactly what I wanted, and it turned out really well and I won. So after that I had to go up against a player called Sunmate. And Sunmate is one of Russia's best players, if not the best player in Russia. He plays Birdie, and that's a horrible matchup for Lara as well. And he has beaten me before this year. He beat me at Head Stomper, the CPT there, and he has beaten me other times as well. So it's personally a really hard matchup for me as well. And I used Falk in this matchup too. I couldn't get started though, and everything just kind of went wrong, and he just beat me. And just like that, I was out. I got out in 9th place. Top 8 was my goal, so it was like one game before that. But looking back at it, I can't be too sad about the result. I think I did okay. I wish I had done better, but anyways, that was Street Fighter V for me. Now I could focus on Samurai Showdown instead. Samurai Showdown is a pretty new game, and it's kind of an obscure title with not a lot of play online. Most of it is played offline, and it's kind of hard to understand how good or bad you are if you only play the same people all the time, because then you're kind of in a vacuum, right? So it was really interesting. This was the first time I went to a really big tournament for Samurai Showdown, and I had high hopes for myself. However, you never know how it's going to turn out, right? So I started out in pools. I had to play Charlotte, which is a kind of a bad matchup for my character. I play Shiki, and I secondary Jubei. But I had already decided to always go Shiki first and then switch to Jubei if I felt like that was the right idea. This was the first game though, and you're always a little bit shaky when it comes to that. Like your hands shake, you're not ready, you're not in the game. So I lost the first round, but then I thought, no, I'm having this. This is in the bag. And then I turned it around and I won the first game. After that, I had another bad matchup, and then I had another bad matchup, and then I have a fourth bad matchup. But I managed to actually win them all and get the top 8 winners side. So now I'm at top 8, and this is going to be played on main stage. So I'm on winner side. That means I can lose once, and then I have another chance on loser side. So I was against Riktig Ninja, who is a guy who goes to our monthly tournaments. He's really good, and personally he plays Hanzo, which is kind of a tricky matchup, and I felt like I didn't play it correctly this time. And I lost with Shiki. She has a really hard time dealing with his fireball, so I figured I will try my secondary instead with Jubei. And that went better. He deals with the fireballs better. He can kind of keep Hanzo away. He has good air-to-airs, but I wasn't being patient enough. I overextended a lot, and that in the end got me killed. But at least I got some cool plays out of it, and now it was just loser side, and I just had to take it from there. So then I came against a Finnish player named Sayrock. I think Shiki does pretty well in this matchup. He's very mobile, but I played against this character before, and I'm not too scared of him unless he is in rage. And that's when the meter in the bottom right or left is full, right? Then he gets a lot of damage. So I had to watch out when he was in rage, and this was my game plan. When he's not in rage, I can go in, I can try to open him up. When he's in rage, I have to back off, I have to take it easy, try to make him overextend and then punish accordingly. And it worked out well. It was a pretty tight game still, but I think I had control over it all the time, so a happy win for me there. Next up was Ruxa, who was a player who I beat in pools. He played Tum-Tum, and Tum-Tum is a pretty rough matchup for my character, I think at least. She does have some way in, and once she gets in, she does pretty well, but it's hard to get in against Tum-Tum, and this guy was escaping my Shiki quite a bit. So he won the first game, and this is first to 2, right? He won the first game, and I changed to Jubei and tried to get a little bit more space control, and just slow the game down and try to outpoke him and win with that. And that was the right recipe. I was able to beat him, and I went on to losers finals. In losers finals I had to play a player called Yalis, and he played Haomaru. And Haomaru is a pretty rough matchup for Shiki. However, I felt like he didn't play it correctly, and I was watching his games before that, and he had a lot of good reads and good punishes like that. I felt like he didn't play the matchup up how it should be, so that's why I decided to go with Shiki instead, and that was the right move. Haomaru needs to keep Shiki out, and he does that with fireballs and then dealing with my air approach. Yalis didn't play like this. He liked to be more aggressive, more in, do hard reads and make me scared of his approach. That was exactly the game I wanted, and that was perfect for me, so I won 3-0. It was a really good game though, and it kind of like a highlight reel of really cool stuff, so the audience really enjoyed it, I enjoyed it, and I'm pretty sure Yalis enjoyed it as well. So now I was in grand finals against the guy who is in my monthlies. I've beaten him before, however I couldn't get into the right mind to be able to beat him, and unfortunately I lost the grand finals as well, pretty hard 3-0. But Riktig Ninja, he played really solid the entire tournament and deserved the win more than I did, and congratulations to him. So that was it. I ended up second place in Samurai Showdown, and I gotta be happy with that. Of course I would have liked to win the whole thing, but second place is okay, I guess. And this ended I think at midnight or 1 AM or so it was pretty late. So we went home to the hotel after this, and then in the morning we went back, and it was time for the event's main top 8. So first off they had Smash, and after that they had Tekken, and then after that we had Street Fighter 5. And since I didn't make top 8 of Street Fighter, they asked me to do some more commentating. So I decided to do that. I did the first half of top 8. It was great. It was really nice to hear the audience and have so many people there watching and cheering, and it was overall a good time. Last out of the games were Guilty Gear, and after that we had some more time for casuals. We all sat down, we had some beers as well. And then suddenly it was time to say goodbye because the end of Sunday had come. So we went back to the hotel, and then we flew back to Sweden after that. I think Install was a really good tournament, a really good event, well run. I had no problems whatsoever, and I have to say that the Finnish FGC really pulled through on this one. I think everybody enjoyed their time there and was an absolute bliss to meet everybody again. So if there is an Install in 2020, I'm sure I will come back. I'm sure
Okay, sure.
That was a perfect.
That's pretty good use of that's a pretty good investment.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I would take it.
Oh no!
No. Okay.
That could have been a lot worse though.
Still solid.
Yeah, I mean standing heavy would have done maybe twice as much damage, but yeah. Good stuff.
Just runs out of rage. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Nice anti-jump though.
He ran out of the rage and didn't get the rage enhanced Rekka there. That's why it didn't combo.
Yeah. He's holding this corner really well though.
Yes, he is. Oh no, but he goes to the footy thing. That's a deep hit.
That's so much damage.
Yes, it is. Yep, opposite neutral jump, which is a good idea until the VP.
2-0. Okay, Rickmeister
Takes a commanding lead here, yeah.
Yeah. It was close though.
It was. It really was. A lot of scary situations. I mean, Alex is definitely playing Haomaru to his strengths.
Yes.
Fake fireball, empty jump throw. Oh no!
Okay, and the weapon's still down there. That's scary. Okay, he needs to punish the pickup. No, okay, good. Just keep away from the weapon, honestly. Don't even cap it. Now he can drag the screen. Yes.
That's
and the life lead. Nice. He
now it's a real life lead.
He can sit here all day.
Yes, he can. But he doesn't need to.
And one punchy boy can do nothing.
Not really, no. He can punch. That's about it.
It's all in the mind, but that defeats in the body. Okay, nice little poke out. Not necessarily the best risk reward, but sure. Hey, damage. Looking for the deflects. That's some real throw damage.
Yep.
Off of corner carry option too.
That's right.
All right, back and forth IBs. We playing Eternal Fight Zero now.
I mean, it used to be that was a terrible idea because you could just like rage burst the Rekka and kill her for it, but now it's real damage.
They fixed the game. I can't believe it.
Oh no! What a read! What an answer! I think he's dead. Yep.
He is dead! Look at that. You can't threaten deflect like that. Well, now you can. There goes his weapon. No, it doesn't. Very quick burst. No, you don't get that.
You need a back throw for that.
Okay. And there goes his weapon.
Yep.
And no instant now. He's disarmed.
Overhead.
Overhead. Basic get it. Okay, sure. He gets his weapon at what cost?
Oh, that was too predictable.
Sidestepped it. That's cute.
I think this dude is definitely gonna either throw me or Isen. So let me beat both.
Yeah. And then let me beat him.
Yep.
Oh.